So one job that we've had for this spring that is time sensitive, like a lot of them are, is pruning the apple trees. A lot of vertical growth that all needs to get cut off, but unfortunately it's too much to cut off in 1 year. So we're coming up with a plan of how to best start removing it. That'll probably be at least a 2-year process, but this tree is a good example visually of the framework that used to exist, all the low kind of horizontal branches, and then all the vertical growth coming off the top. So all of that should have been cut off as it started growing. So we're gonna be thinking a bit on how to go about that. So you can see I decided to hack away at this tree a little bit. I ended up taking out the middle. That was the approach we kind of landed on. The hope is that now with the middle gone, the sun can at least get in there and get to all the apples around the outside. I did a little bit of pruning in some of the branches, but there was just way too much coming up off the top that I couldn't remove a lot of the branches on the sides that I wanted to, because it just would have been too much. So what will likely happen this year is in the middle where I cut it out, it's probably going to have a lot of new growth that's going to grow very, very quickly. And I'm going to have to, throughout this summer, keep going in there and cutting it out. This tree and the one behind it are basically goners. We knew that we had a problem here. The growth was way too high. There was nothing down low that we could really work with as far as training it out and creating a new framework. One thing we did consider was chopping the tree down right at kind of waist height and grafting on the new growing edges into the stump. The reason that didn't work is because these are completely hollow. Both this one and the one behind it has nothing in the middle of them, so it's just impossible to do it that way. What we've done this year is cut off a little bit up high to at least reduce some of the weight up there, so hopefully it doesn't fall down this year. What we're likely going to end up doing is grafting a growing edge onto one of the suckers off of the rootstock down here. We can graft new tips onto it and chop down this old tree, and we've got a brand new one of the same variety. The tree back there, unfortunately we're not seeing any suckers around the tree right now. I'll keep an eye out this summer and make sure I don't mow them down, and hopefully I can do that with that tree as well. These two trees show that on this one I was a little bit more sparing. I left more of it on there. The other one, I was a bit more aggressive, took more off. I don't know if it's going to affect the apple production much or a lot. We'll see kind of what happens this year. I do want to get some apples, but I also want to fix these trees. What I'm thinking is that by cutting it out even aggressively with the new shoots, it's going to give me a lot of new stuff that I can start to bend and train down, and little by little remove the old stuff that's just in the wrong position. This tree clearly has had some issues. This tree in one of the windstorms probably many years ago fell over. It's completely sideways now. And then all the branches that were perfectly trained, half of them are in the dirt and the other half are now sticking straight up in the air. It basically became a giant shrub. What we did to fix this one was I chopped off the part of the tree that was right on the ground. That immediately did a lot to open this up. I cut a lot out of the middle, similarly to how I dealt with the other trees. And between those two things, I think it's gonna open things up a lot and give us some more options for pruning next year. It's the smaller, younger, whippier branches like this that I've left on purpose and hope to create some more of. I'm sure I will, so that I can train them down horizontally, or better yet, slightly below horizontal. This is gonna be a lot better of a framework to get apples off of. We've even got some little ones down here, and I'm sure a lot will be created in the middle that'll have to train outward as I'm removing the old outward ones that are not doing too much for us. This is another tree that was blown right over on its side and became a giant shrub. It's quite a mess. There's a lot of growth in there. I chopped a ton of stuff out of the middle, and it still looks like a mess. So it's gonna be at least a couple more years of chopping stuff out and little by little selecting new branches that will become the framework of the new tree I'm gonna try to create out of this one.